Okay, so Gamer for Life, Demented Priest, we're here. We're talking about Saints Row 4. Okay, we have a little bit of problems with the voiceover with him in the party and me, so I'm going to basically just sit here in the achievement screen, and we're going to just kind of do our own overview about the game. Okay, while I was getting set up, me and Demented Priest were kind of talking about this, and I asked him if you had to choose a game and play from the very beginning, which would it be, Saints Row 4 or Saints Row 3? And he said Saints Row 3. Is that correct?
Yep, Saints Row 3 would be the one to replay.
Yep, and I would agree too. And previous to Saints Row 4 come out, me and Demented, when we were bored in between games, now, anytime there's a co-op game, we always kind of, we played Dead Space 3. We did, what was the other game we did? Army of Two, Gears of War, Judgment Day. I mean, if there's a co-op game, we always do it. But then there's times in between games that we don't really have anything going on. So just to kind of fuck off, we'll play some Saints Row 3. General mayhem, roll some missions. I got several saves in the game, so I could go back to like level 35, and I got like a lot of the missions done, and we'll go back and play them. And for the most part, Saints Row 3, I give hands down over Saints Row 4. Saints Row 4 had its ups, but the glitches, I cannot tell you how many times this game locked up. I mean, me and Demented, we would save the game all the time. I mean, all right, let's save the game. He's like, hell yeah. So we saved the game. And then, because it locked up all the time, wouldn't you say so?
Oh yeah, every time we turned around we got locked up and had to reset.
So what are your thoughts on Saints Row 3 compared to Saints Row 4?
Well, Saints Row 3, I mean, it was a little bit over the top from Saints Row 2, but you still had that fundamental gang-style game. And Saints Row 4 just went really crazy with the whole Superman, the superpowers, like they put in Prototype and Crackdown mixed with Saints Row, and it just kind of,
It did.
I don't know, in my opinion, kind of ruined it.
It didn't work. I mean, like, again, these are just two gamers' opinions, but one, I think Saints Row 4 was poorly written right from the start. I mean, if I was sitting on the board of directors and somebody came to me and said that, we were going to be the president and then abducted by aliens, I've been like, you need to take some time off and, rethink, because I ain't paying you to come up with this. I mean, it was just lame, in my opinion. And then, again, for them to decide to blow up the Earth and then to basically play this whole game in a simulation. And then the way the side missions were all basically activity related, kind of lame. It just, if you're a true Saints fan, you're going to do all the side related stuff anyway. And, when you play Saints Row 1, 2, and 3, the activities varied some. And I remember when Saints Row 1 first came out, I didn't like it all that much. I was really into San Andreas at that time, Grand Theft San Andreas, and I just I don't know, I wasn't feeling Saints Row. But then Saints Row 2 came out, and played through twice or three times, I don't know how many times, with all the different friends. So then I decided to replay Saints Row 1. But all the activities kind of stayed the same. You had your your snatch, and then your drug trafficking and all that. And the car customization thing was there, and your character customization thing. And true, Saints Row 3 kind of, I thought, could have been better written, but they still stayed in the style of Saints. This totally gangster thing, a little bit over the top with all this, like in Saints Row 2 when you had the Septic Avenger, and you're riding around in a truck throwing, shit all over buildings. It was a little bit over the top, but it was still Saint style. But then when Saints Row 4,
fun too.
Right, but then Saints Row 4 comes in, I didn't care for any of the activities, to be honest with you. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, they tried to remake them a little bit, but I really think they just ruined it.
I think when I look back, the Mayhem is the only thing that kind of went from Saints Row 3 into Saints Row 4. All the other activities were just, geared for the superpowers.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I didn't really care for him. Oh, the Professor Jankies did, make its way into Saints Row 4, even though they revamped it as far as using your kinesis and that kind of thing. But again, I didn't like it because you found yourself, it's like, all right, we need to throw cars through the rings, but there was no cars to be had. And then vice versa, it's like you had to throw a body through a ring, but you couldn't find no people out there. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling the activities. What's your thought?
Yeah. I feel about the same way with it. I mean, half the time, like with the insurance frauds, the cars were going like a mile an hour. You could not get any kind of play off of them to get your money built up.
Okay, again, I might have forgot that, but yep, the insurance fraud did make it into Saints Row 4. It was in Saints Row 3, but Saints Row 3 was a lot better, and he was right. I mean, I tried doing the insurance fraud by myself, and I couldn't do it. If it wasn't for Demented Priest, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, when I make the videos, I can't see what he's doing. I'm only able to record what I'm doing, and he's right. But having the superpowers, like I was able to, jump like super high and then hit the trigger and then kind of do a free fall and just cartwheel down the expressway, hitting one car into the next. And it was okay, but again, prefer Saints Row 3 over Saints Row 4.
Yeah.
Like when we would do Saints Row 2, the insurance fraud, we would always find our way up to the expressways. And, they just had these fast-moving traffic, and you could just get yourself in front of a tractor trailer that just wasn't stopping, and you just get, knocked in the next week. And the fun factor was just a hell of a lot better than the Saints Row 4. And the truth is, if it wasn't related to the challenges, I wouldn't have really gave a shit about getting gold in them. So,
yeah.
We only did it because we had to, as far as getting all our challenges done, and it was an achievement related. Me and Demented were the kind of gamers that were gonna do everything in the game. I'm like, I haven't looked back. With this game, it's at 100% Saints Row 4, and we got just a little over 60 hours in it. Well, Saints Row 3, I believe we're over 100 hours in that.
Yeah.
All right, because
just one walk.
Right, because we're going to do everything. I mean, not only are we going to steal all the cars, we're going to do all the assassinations, but we're also going to collect, Saints Row 3, somewhere in the middle of the game, you'll get some kind of collector finder ability that you can upgrade, and it shows you where everything is, as far as you had sex dolls, pallets of drugs, pallets of money, and there was a fourth one in there too, which I can't remember. So you had all those collectibles, and then on top of that, you had the barnstorming and the jumps. And I was going to take a second and throw a thanks out to Demented Priest, because I cannot tell you how many views I get and comments about the shortcuts. And we basically went back to a previous save in the game where it was in the very beginning of the game that people were like, hey, can you show me a walkthrough on the shortcuts? And when we did the game, we didn't really think much of it. And then, I'm like, hey, I'm getting a lot of requests for the shortcuts. And I get a lot of comments like, hey, I needed the 2 shortcuts in your video. It was like, show me the first 2 and I got my challenge in. And just like, sweet. So, I mean, hats out for Demented, because without his help, there's no way I could have done it. He basically would go off, find the shortcuts, and I marked them, and then we, videotaped them. So all the people in Saints Row 3 that have, used those videos to help out, good shout out to Demented for that, because without his help, we wouldn't have got those videos done. But the one thing about Saints Row 3 that I didn't like was that you didn't get nothing for doing the jumps and the barnstorming. Not that you needed anything, but an achievement would have been nice for either of them, for sure. But I think at the end of Saints Row 2, when you got the barnstorming, I believe you got like the race airplane or something. But at the end of the jumps,
Yeah.
you got the Dukes car, the Saints of Dukes or whatever. And basically, it was a bootlegger that was kind of set up like the Dukes of Hazzard car, and it was just an awesome car. It really was. And after
It was fun.
yeah, and after doing 80 jumps in Saints Row 2, you needed something, man, because I mean, 80 jumps, it was ridiculous. I cannot tell you how many people was said, hey, you know, I got 78 out of 80 jumps. I don't know where the other two are, and when the ability came for me to do voiceovers, we redid all the Saints Row 2, and I did all the jumps again from the very beginning. And people were like, "Oh, you're always in the menu," because I'm like, I showed you, 1 through 5, and then I would show you the stats, and it's just, I would try to, force the thing when you're doing the jumps. Follow the video, but also follow your stats to make sure. It's like, well, he's on number 10, but I'm only on number 8. So to double check your jumps, and instead of like getting to number 36 or 63 or 80 and like, damn, I'm missing 2, and then have to go back through all those. And just a fun fact that when I was doing these 80 jumps, Demented Priest's game was already, he was already complete. He was just hanging out in there, and he was just fucking around doing some jumps with me, and he got his Dukes of Hazzard for a jump that he never did. And I was like, yeah, that was pretty.
Yep.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do actually.
But the thing is that's the Saints game. When Saints Row 4 came out and I was told that there wasn't going to be a guidebook, it made me worry a little bit. But the truth is, with this game, you don't really need a guidebook. And it kind of sucks for me, being able to do video walkthroughs that, there's no collectibles or, things in the game I could do to help you guys out with. And basically, we did all the achievement or all the activities, and I'm going to make videos on all that. But the truth is, there's not much in the game, video walkthroughs can do for you. Now, like if you're having trouble doing some of the kinesis activities, you'll see us do the videos. But the truth is, you just need to have a good partner and to do it in co-op. Sometimes the points are higher, but having the co-op help makes all the difference in the world. Like, what was it? The Blazing, not the Blazing, but the Riff, where you're doing the platforms. I mean, Demented Priest always beat me to the end, before the end. But the truth is that it's all about points. So I was a little slower, but I was hitting the centers, and he was able to get to the end. But our combined total score got us gold, and then in the end, that's all that really matters. It didn't really matter if you made it to the end. It's just as long as you got the gold, before you reach the end. And then the same with the speed. The speed rifts, they were quite tough. I mean, me and Demented, we failed quite a few times, or we came up short gold, silver, bronze, silver. And doing the speed rifts, we would, I would always, jump shallow. You see the jump, and because you're used to hitting the A shallow, but in that particular activity, you had to wait to the very tip to hit your A button, to jump. And it's just one of those things as far as getting your gold on all your activities. And again, I thought all the activities being under the challenge list was lame. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, there could have been a lot more in there. They could have thrown in some car stunts to get you to actually drive in the game, because there's really no point to drive.
Yeah, that is 100% true. We were thinking about it, and when you were offline, I went into the cars to kind of customize, because I figured it'd be a good way to earn some XP. But then I was customizing the cars, and you get 0 XP. Now in Saints Row 3, when you would upgrade your vehicles under the performance end, I mean, you got some good respect. It's like, wow, doing your paints and trim and all that only got you a little respect, but under the performance end, you would get a lot of respect. And then under Saints Row 4, it's like you got 0 XP. You're like, well, kind of pointless.
Why waste the money?
Exactly, considering you needed it. In Saints Row 4, you needed to upgrade almost everything as far as your weapons and then your abilities. I mean, it would just make sense to, I mean, in order to get some of your alien-based weapon challenges in, you needed to upgrade them. The more you upgraded your bounce rifle, the dubstep, everything pretty much, you needed to upgrade them. They just were a lot more efficient in killing then. So, you know, that was, it was just, you know, spend the money there because, shit, we never really even drove. I mean, the Med to Priest, about halfway through the game, I got my challenge done for the 2.5 million feet of travel in an alien vehicle, but he did not, and I explained more about how I did mine in the challenge video, which we don't need to get into right now, but he needed to get his done, so he would just, you know, anytime we needed to go from one end to the other, he would just call in a alien aircraft, but I would just jump and fly, or just run the sprint on the ground. I mean, he was actually saying that once we got the running on the water ability, that he couldn't fly fast as I was running on the water.
Yeah, I couldn't keep up.
He couldn't keep up. I mean, it was just that sick, you know. So there was no reason for the thing. And then there was like a couple of missions where we had to do a car. I think it's the two Shondis. I'm like, oh, this is a vehicle. Let me deck out a few cars. But the truth is, they give you a car, and it just sucks, you know. In Saints Row 3, you had the trafficking, you had the snatch, you had the escorts. But the escorts, they give you a vehicle. You didn't really get an ability to use your own cars. But in the escorts, or the snatches, and in the trafficking, you can call your own vehicles in. And I actually sent you a message yesterday, you know, go, how many vehicles does it take to do a trafficking? When I was looking back through some of the old videos and watching the Zemos hard trafficking, I think we must have went through like 24 of the Morningstar vehicles to get to the end. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I might have to watch that one, the one you sent me.
All right, let's
I watched it for a little bit.
let's take a second here. I'm going to go ahead and break the video, and we'll come back with one more discussion about the games. And again, we're talking about Saints Row 4 and then the previous Saints game. So we'll see you on the next one. If you like the videos, you can always support us by checking out the ads.